What's up, guys? It's the Witnesses Podcast coming to you live right here. You got Zach and Tom. We're ready to bring you all the Cleveland Browns, Cleveland Cavaliers. We got a little nugget about Ohio State today as well. Got to give them a nice little shout out. So, stay tuned. Let's go ahead and get started. Zach, you with me?
Oh, I'm with you.
All right, let's go. TWP.
Beautiful. Kicking us off, guys. The Browns beat the Titans 27-3. I know we're all excited. We're all very, very happy about this. Tom, bigger deal right now. Defense holding the Titans to 3, or Deshaun 289, 2 touchdowns, no turnovers.
For this week, I would say the Deshaun statistics. But both are great. I think just for the defense, this is a continued story. So this is just chapter 3 in their story. Whereas, the first 2 weeks for Deshaun have been up and down. And, I think we needed to see him have a very consistent game from start to finish.
Absolutely. It was fun seeing him in those empty tight end sets. We'll break it down for you guys later on the pod. I was very impressed to see what the offense had to look like. 27 points, and we left some points on the table too. So
yeah,
just
the
imagining.
refs also helped us leave some points on the table too. We'll say that.
What are you talking about?
And the Titans had some opportunities to score, which we kind of took away as well. But they shot themselves in the foot a little bit. It was a war of attrition, and this game was closer than it looks, but it never felt close. But yeah, it kind of got out of hand near the end there.
Other things that kind of got out of hand is our defense, guys. Our defense. You guys sit down. Last game against the Titans, we held them to 6 first down. We held them to 94 total yards. We held them to 20 yards to Derrick Henry, 26 total rushing yards, 5 total sacks, 3.5 for Myles Garrett. They were 2 for 12 on third down. Wow, Tom, is this the best defense in the league? Is this the best defense you've ever seen in your lifetime? And honestly, is this the most historical defense ever in terms of what they're going to make? Are people going to write books about this?
Yes to all of those questions. No, this is a historical run to start the season. The amount of yards we've given up is unbelievable. The lack of amount of yards, the lack of first downs we've given up. Nobody has made it to the red zone except for the one turnover we just had last game, which put them in the red zone. Nobody's gotten to the red zone on their own, which is just insane.
That's actually wild.
It's nuts that's not happened in 3 full games against the best competition you're going to face in the world. Our defense is unbelievable, and obviously Myles Garrett had a huge game. He has, catapulted himself into the Defensive Player of the Year conversation again. But, he led the charge. His team followed him into battle. Everybody was getting involved. Everybody was eating. And that's how they've been all year. There's been a lot of, quick gang tackling to the ball, a lot of pass deflections. And it's nice to see other players get sacks. I got Alex right there in the bottom right corner, Good for him. I think that's his 2nd sack of the year. Hey, when one guy eats and he's eating the way Myles Garrett does, there's usually scraps for other people. So it's nice to see people getting theirs.
Yeah, that's Maurice Hurst there in the middle. For those of you who are on YouTube, like and subscribe, smash that notification bell. He's doing the hungry emoji or emote, I guess you could say now. These guys look scary. Alex Wright looks good. Hurst looks good. It's letting guys like JOK really just think free and go to the ball and make tackles. I feel like years past, we've maybe missed so many tackles, but this defense, it feels very beautiful to watch. And I actually spoke to someone that was able to go to the game, and they said it was even more beautiful to watch in person, to just have a defense and sit there. And usually defense, you go touch your buffalo chicken dip, you make sure you didn't put too much mild cheddar in there or anything like that. But when we're on defense, paying attention. It's really fun to see, Myles Garrett go on one side, then move to the other, then forcing that Titans timeout, and Jim Schwartz smiling. We don't see that often. That's amazing. That's when you know that people are having fun, and it's just a good time for our defense.
Yeah, the defense is must-see TV right now. Like they are dominant as dominant can be, and it's fun to watch. It's fun to watch them like compete for who's going to be making the play, because somebody's going to be making a play. They're like, oh, I'm going to get to the ball first, and it's really leading this team. Like, and that's everybody should kind of like follow their lead, because they're going to give us a lot of opportunities to succeed. I mean, so obviously I'm talking about offense, but they're going to keep games close, even if we have a really slow start to games, which we kind of had a slow start in this game. Like it still ended up being a huge blowout because our defense was like, we're not budging. We're not, we're on the 50-yard line. Okay, by the end of the game, we're at the 49-yard line. So that's where we are. As long as we can continue to get points on the board. I mean, that's also why it's nice to have somebody like Dustin Hopkins, quick shout out, D-Hop, just like killing it.
Real D-Hop, baby.
I mean, like, we don't need an offense. As long as we have a kicker and this defense, we're going to beat most teams.
Yeah, and I think it allows Deshaun, not touch up on offense again, but it just allows him to give that, like, he can make mistakes now. It's okay. He can toss the ball back, and it might not look good, but we got it. It's cool. Like, let's relax. We need Deshaun at his best. We need him to be able to make these mistakes and play through our defense. I mean, this is why the defense gets game balls and everything, but once we see these people, once we see Deshaun hitting on all cylinders, I mean, it's going to be scary, Tom. Let me just read you some stats, cuz I'm just in the notes. 27 for 33. He was 81.8% completion rate. That completion rate for him is the second best. What's his first best? 2019, he had 5 touchdowns against the Falcons. 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. That's the guy that we can get. Before that, week 1, 55% completion rate. Week 2, 55% completion rate. And then you see this big jump. He's having fun. He's bouncing back. He's going to get there. We just need to give him, let him mess up. Because the opposite of messing up is those explosive plays. And Amari Cooper doesn't, that ref doesn't have money on the spread or the money line or whatever that was going on that time. He looks even better with 3 touchdowns. So I'm not trying to overreact. I'm trying to tell everyone to just calm down. Let's give him the grace. Like, if he messes up next game, which he won't, but we got to just relax with him.
No, absolutely. I mean, we need to create an environment for him to feel comfortable to make mistakes so that he can get back to his best version of himself on the football field.
Well, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Sorry. Do you like the empty sets that we're working right now? What do you think of those right now?
Well, it all comes back to Nick Chubb being out. That's the reality of the situation, because Nick Chubb is the kind of guy where he doesn't have to say anything, and he's the leader of the locker room. And now that he's out, like, somebody else had to step up. And I think Myles Garrett has stepped up in a huge way and is really, like, walking the walk of a number 1 overall pick. But you can only do that so much when you're a defensive player. This is Deshaun's opportunity to step up and be the guy. And this was a huge step for him to become that person. And I think, the empty sets, they're cool. I like them. I think we need to get as many people involved as possible, and that's like how our offense, that's how we wear people down. And it used to be just with Nick Chubb and then getting other people involved, but now we're starting from 0. We don't have a person who's going to wear you down like Nick Chubb. We have to get everyone involved. I think we had 7 or 8 different people rush the ball, which is crazy. We had 3 running backs. We had Harrison Bryant, 2 of our wide receivers with Elijah Moore and Marquise Goodwin. Deshaun ran the ball. Like, we were getting real creative. And I think, that's a bit of Kevin handing the keys over to Deshaun. Not only just trusting him more, but also like, hey, I can't rely on Nick Chubb. You can't rely on Nick Chubb. We have to get everyone involved. We have to, and that yeah, that starts with him doing a lot of like West Coast offense, quick screens, quick throws here or there, high percentage plays. But yeah, that's how you end up with 27 or 28 of 33. Like he started to ball out and get real comfortable across this game. And I think what makes him special is he's an athlete, that's an incredible athlete. But in terms of playing quarterback, the thing that is his X factor is his ability to not get sacked when two or three people get their hands on him. He's slippery, he's agile, he's a great athlete, and that's an X factor play. When you're able to not lose 15 yards and instead you make an insane throw, and yes, it only goes for 2 yards, but that's huge. That is a drive saver. It's momentum. Yeah, he had his best game as a Brown, and I think, yeah, hopefully this is a building block for him.
Stepping stone. And how could it not be when you have a guy like Amari Cooper to throw to? Amari Cooper through 3 games, 17 receptions, 2 touchdowns, 243 yards. Amari Cooper, the Nick Chubb of wide receivers. Amari Cooper, all reliable. Tom, other than the play that happened that I honestly think Bottlegate 2 would have happened if we lost and this was the reason. Because this was, like, if you look at the ref, he's right there. It's okay, we're relaxed. But Amari Cooper, the way he runs routes is beautiful up there with Devontae Adams. But I haven't heard a lot of talk about him. And I want to ask you, do you think Amari Cooper is the most underrated wide receiver in the league right now?
Yes. I think Amari Cooper is, has probably always hovered around top 10, top 15, but right now he's playing like top 5. And it's similar to Nick Chubb because he's not flashy, he doesn't talk trash, and he wears defenses down. Like, he's going to find who is your most inexperienced defensive back, and he's going to exploit that guy. He's going to wear that dude down, and he's going to catch contested balls. He's big and strong. He can take some shots. I mean, he went off. And, yeah, if it weren't for that ref, he probably had 200 yards receiving, as well as he had 3 huge defensive pass interferences. So he was responsible for almost 300 yards of offense. I mean, what a frickin' game. And what a mentor for all the young receivers in our room. I love Jarvis Landry, and I love, his speech on Hard Knocks and, everything that he meant to us, kind of turning the tide here in Cleveland, so to speak. But, like, Jarvis Landry got so many taunting penalties or unnecessary roughness penalties because he was trying to motivate people or trying to get the boys involved by, taunting a defensive back. Amari Cooper's the opposite of that. He's never going to get a call like that. And if he does, I will put my whole foot in my mouth on cam. But he's not the kind of guy. He's going to just wear you down, and he's going to beat you and be respectful, just like Nick Chubb.
That's why I think he doesn't get the credit he deserves, is because he's not out here like Odell. The best thing Odell did is, like, dye his hair. He's not out here like Justin Jefferson, who did 25 gritties on TikTok and said, "This is what I'm going to do when I score a touchdown." And first touchdown was in week 3. He's not one of those guys, TikTok. He sits down for like one interview every 5 years. You're always like, dang, he talks, and he just proves himself on the field. He's, the Cowboys fans that are listening to this are probably hating themselves hearing of this because it's crazy. They just let him go, and we got him. I'm very happy to have him. My Jarvis Landry jersey doesn't, have that kind of happiness to it, but it's whatever. Comes and goes. Kind of want a Cooper jersey, but slow the roll. Get the Ford first or something like that.
Oh, yeah. Just a quick note on Jerome Ford. I made a ballsy move, and I sat Derrick Henry this week for Jerome Ford because I was like, Jerome Ford's the pick, man. I'm telling you. And boy, did it pay off.
And he didn't even get that many rushing yards. He just knows how to get in the right place at the right time, just catch touchdowns.
He sauced up that defender for that receiving touchdown. It wasn't shown well on camera, but he had that guy burnt to a crisp.
And that's not an easy catch for a guy in his first career start, really. And, like, that's not an easy play. You have to run a great route. You have to catch the ball. Some of those running backs are so new. You're like, those lights. If you guys watched last week, there was a lot of drops of people who up and comers, Quentin Johnson. But our boy, our little role running back that everyone went and got on the waivers, he's doing a good job, making a lot of people proud. And one thing that we got to be proud of coming in against the Ravens, we got to be looking good. I think, looking at a graph, we're probably going this way right now, and they're going that way. And those of you on YouTube can see the visual that I just did. But it's two AFC North giants, I guess you could call them. There's 3 people tied at 2-1. The Pittsburgh Steelers play the Texans. I think C.J. Stroud's going to get that one on him. So, we win, and we could be leading the division. Tom, predictions for this one. Are you as excited as me? Do you think this is going to go where it is? And are we going to just beat the brakes off the Ravens? That's crazy, right?
Well, I'm most excited because we're going to see this live together. And all of our fans out there, all of our loyal TWPs out there, you catch us before the game in the Muni lot, Come do a shoe chug with us, or pass us something fancy. Come say hi to us. But, yeah, I'm stoked to see this defense live against, I don't know, some people think I'm like a Lamar Jackson fan. And I would say I guess I am. But he's electric, man. He's like the best athlete at quarterback we've ever seen. And all I mean to say is I respect him as much as I respect anybody. Maybe Patrick Mahomes is the only person above, but he's responsible for so many explosive plays. I have nightmares about Lamar Jackson, especially in the open field. Can you imagine trying to tackle that guy in the open field? Terrifying. But the perfect answer to that is JOK. JOK is a Lamar Jackson hunter. He has been trained in the ways of hunting a Lamar Jackson, and he knows it well, and he's not afraid of this guy. Plus, our defensive line is going to create pressure and havoc the whole time. I think Grant Delpit and JOK are going to be headhunting. Not literally headhunting. We're not going to try and hurt them. But they're going to be out there to harvest Lamar Jackson's organs.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of plays we can all remember Lamar making us look dumb. Lamar, actually, looking into it, he's made a lot of people look dumb the last 3 games. He's responsible for 193 yards rushing. And I think this game, like you said, it's going to come down to what can Lamar Jackson do against our defense. It's going to be a perfect test for our defense. We're the best. We say we're historic. This is where they're going to prove it. Beating a team like this convincingly and even getting sacks on Lamar, making Lamar be the true person that everyone says, he might not be able to throw the ball, and really lean into that and show that these little dink and dunks to Zay Flowers and then go pray that he does something nice. We're going to be locking that up. Like the guys like JOK shooting down. What I really loved about the last game, I think is going to translate it in this game, the safeties, everyone down the field, the way they shoot up and get tackles, just beautiful. I think that's why it's going to be Lamar true test. This is going to be so exciting to watch in person because it's going to come down to that. Who do they have at running back? Is it Gus Edwards questionable? Justice Hill? Like, these sound like Justin Timberlake. These guys, like, what are they, in a band or some shit?
Yeah, they don't have it. Again, because J.K. Dobbins is down. And, my heart goes out to J.K. Dobbins as an Ohio State guy. But second year in a row with a season-ending injury very early. And, yeah, Gus Edwards has some promise as a backup. But I don't think he's a top dog. And if he's questionable and Justice Hill has to do a lot, all of this is leading to Lamar having to play hero ball more and more, which is like what you're afraid of about Lamar, but you can't play hero ball all game. Like, if you can do it sparingly, that's when it's most effective. If you have to play hero ball the whole time, yeah, you're going to run out of gas. I do like Zay Flowers. I think Zay Flowers is nice, but that's also with, has Odell done anything?
No, he's done stuff like be questionable and going week to week.
Okay, yeah. And is Rashad Bateman doing anything? Like,
he's also being questionable week to week.
Okay. Yeah. So I like the addition of Zay Flowers, but yeah, the rest of their offense, their wide receivers, their running backs, they're all questionable whether or not they're even going to play, let alone contribute. Love Mark Andrews. He's very consistent, all reliable.
Oh.
But that's who Lamar needs, is somebody who's reliable like that. And I think their defense is good, probably underrated, but it'll be a great test for Deshaun. I think, God, our defense is just so much better than their defense, but we'll see.
Yeah, and that's what we expect to see, them shutting him down. But you still have to respect Lamar. You hate the Ravens, obviously. You hate everything about it, but you still have to respect that. With his legs, I mean, alone, it's kind of terrifying. Defensive side of the ball for the Ravens, I mean, they have Jadeveon Clowney, the ghost of, Christmas past. He's just
the ghost
salty
of
balls.
a tackle in 2010 or something against South Carolina or against Michigan when he played for South Carolina. It's like that one play has earned that dude hundreds of millions of dollars. Like,
and that's some guys' careers. Like I was talking about Odell, and not to hate on him, but I'm kind of hating on him. But it's like one play couldn't define you. Market it right, get it on TikTok, write it on a T-shirt, and sell it. Like D'Ernest Johnson. He's still selling those slow grind T-shirts, and we're like still the number one supporters of D'Ernest Johnson, even though he plays for the Jaguars.
Johnson.
I love you, D'Ernest. But you can make a play. They have Jadeveon Clowney. He's only coming in with 1.5 sacks. He's definitely going to want to get his hands on Deshaun. So it'll be nice to see. But their 4 against our 5 does not bring pressure. Their whole game was leading down, running the blitz on third down all the time. They have guys like Kyle Hamilton, safety for them, second-year guy, who's very, very fast coming off the blitz. It's going to be a lot of, I think, one-on-ones. Amari Cooper, this could be the Elijah Moore game. Hopefully, this is the Njoku game. Njoku, 10 receptions out of 11 targets so far.
For the year?
For the year.
Gotcha.
And he's his longest, I believe, is about 29. But those 10 targets or 11, targets to Elijah Moore's 25 and Amari Cooper's 25 so far. So I think we're going to see a lot of one-on-ones. We're going to see this might be that person's game. You never know. Pierre Strong might have 2 touchdowns. Who the heck knows?
I like Pierre Strong. I think that would be something I'm looking forward to see because I feel like our tight ends have been underutilized. I'm not going to harp on that too much more than that. Obviously, Njoku's been efficient with the balls he's gotten, but I feel like there's this weird affinity for Harrison Bryant within somebody. I don't want to say it's definitely Kevin Stefanski, but somebody thinks Harrison Bryant is really special in our organization, and I don't know why.
That's D.
I don't dislike him, but he's our third tight end for a reason, and I feel like he's getting just as many opportunities as Njoku and way more than Jordan Akins, who was advertised as Deshaun's buddy from Houston. I feel like when I'm looking at this game, I mean, you can only go with what you've seen so far in the season, and especially this last game. If the Colts and Gardner Minshew are able to put up 22 against this team, I want to put up 30. I want to put up at least 30. And if they're only able to put up 19 points against this Colts defense, I want to hold them to under 10. I want to hold them to 10 at most. That's just how I feel. Like, I mean, it's an AFC North bloody rivalry, so it'll probably be a closer game than what I just anticipated. But if you're looking at like the way our defense is playing, the way their whole team is playing, I think this could be another whooping. It has the potential to be.
Yeah, it could be one of those 10-31 games, which is my prediction on this game. You can just see it. You can see it, but you have to respect Lamar. So you factor in 2 touchdowns there, and maybe it's a close game, and maybe it's not. It's going to be very, very exciting.
Yeah, I think we win 31-14. I'll give Lamar 2.
All right, guys. Enough about us about to smack the Ravens. We have some Cavs talk that we wanted to get into. Tom, I have a question right off the bat. There's been a lot of rumors about our City Edition jerseys. I have some opinions about them. I think on the bottom screen, those of you who are there watching us on YouTube, like that subscribe button. If you can see those, I don't really like any of them. I think I like one of them, and I can't tell you which one it is, but I just out of respect. But, those are ugly, and they ruined the orange and blue one. They ruined our classic blue colorway. We're not going to try that again, bringing those retro jerseys back. So, I mean, that's a mock-up on the right, question mark. But City Edition jerseys, you excited about them coming out? You have any opinions on them? What do you want to see?
Yeah, I got two ideas.
Okay.
I got two ideas. So one, some play on the 90s, early 2000s jerseys that are black and light blue. Like those are the coolest. And I feel like we often waste our coolest jerseys on our bad teams because we're trying to find something else to think about. And I totally get it. If you're the organization, you're not thinking about the players. You're like, well, can I make these dopes look cool? But the black and the light blue, some play on that. Maybe a reverse, kind of like the Miami Vice jerseys, where it's like we could do a light blue with like just a black trim.
I want to see the orange ones. I want to see them come back.
You're crazy. The other one is, okay, you see this red one to the right. That was our City Edition jersey, not last year, but the year prior, where it was kind of an homage to all the different decades. Something like that, but an homage to the '07 Cavaliers that had that navy jersey with kind of the gold, red, and blue like checkered trim. An homage to that, similar to this over here. That's what I'd like to see, because that's probably my favorite jersey in my lifetime, is that blue, that navy blue that we wore the year that we ended up beating Detroit in the Eastern Conference Finals. We got smoked by the Spurs, but that was LeBron's most badass moment, I think, of his whole career. He scored 25 unanswered from fourth quarter to overtime. Is unbelievable.
It's going to be usually like there's leaks about the City Edition jerseys, but I haven't seen any, and I'm just kind of waiting. Hopefully we can get some proofs or something about it. But guys, all this to say, we're excited about the Cavs season. Quick note, Cavs got only 8 games on ESPN and TNT. They call them 16 games primetime, but those are with NBA TV. Nobody watches NBA TV. So there's 8 games if you have cable you can look forward to if you're not watching Bally Sports. Got me kind of excited. Thinking about the East, though, because ideally this is our year. This is the year that we have to go in and really make a statement for ourselves. So, Tom, first question to kind of start this off is the Dame trade. I don't know. People say it's not going to happen. I personally think it's going to happen 100%. But do you think like it's going to happen for real? Isn't it kind of waiting too long right now?
Oh, I think he's burned the bridge with Portland. I think he has to go out. I think it's just who. You know what? Like, good for Portland for saying like, we're not going to let you just throw 2 turds at us. Like, you need to give us good players if we're going to give up the guy who's been our best player for 11 years. Like, they're holding their ground and demanding a lot, which is why I think like wherever he goes depends on whether or not I think he's a threat, and it will ultimately also decide like how I feel about the Cavs going into the season in terms of their position. Like, I think it could really shake up the East depending on where he goes.
Yeah, I mean, Dame, I think is traded to Miami though, no question. I think all these reports, 100%. These reports, people always want to look, I feel like, too far into them, but every report, if you think about it, is by a shill, by somebody of somebody. Like, they're not just out there for no reason. There's a guy they drop some bad news about Dame. Every time, look at it. Every time they drop bad news about Dame, something in reverse will happen. There'll be a report that's like, Miami is sending nothing to Portland Trailblazers, and then the next one will be like, Miami's offered the best package in the world, and Portland saying no. You can't trust anything you read. You can only trust history, in my opinion. And history tells you the disgruntled star who comes out and says, I'm not going to play for you, always gets traded. Because you just can't have that bad juju and vibes in the locker room. It's just not right if you have a franchise. And these GMs are not stupid. They know that. And they're going to put all these stories out and hopefully get the best, maximum for him. But, yeah, I don't know. It's just, he's going there 100%.
Oh, I disagree. I think where there's smoke, there's fire, and there's a lot of smoke right now around Toronto. And I just want to ask you straight up, who do you think has better assets to acquire Damian Lillard? Okay.
Toronto.
So, and who recently went out of their way as kind of a dark horse candidate to scoop up a superstar and win a championship.
The
Toronto.
Yeah, I mean, nobody likes to remember that.
Yo, I mean,
but
Kawhi better praise Toronto for doing that for him, because
Kawhi Leonard and Uncle Dennis didn't come out and say, I'm not going to play for you. No team is dumb enough to trade for a guy that has come out and said, I'm not going to play. No, like Kawhi didn't do that. He doesn't even talk. They just went and they got him. They made they'll never get back to that finals. They'll never even taste something close. They just got
they could
very
if
lucky.
they get Damian Lillard. They could. And I'll say this. I think if Damian Lillard goes to Miami, Miami's going to have to give up too much to get him. I strongly believe that. I think if he goes to Miami, I mean, like, we'll see what happens. He's an unbelievable player, and I really do think that Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler are great players also. But I'm not convinced that team is better depending on what they have to lose. I think they're going to have to lose too much for them to still be a top team in the East. I think Toronto could give up 2 or 3 guys that will be difference makers in Portland, but still retain enough of a core that Damian Lillard could be the head of that snake, and they could be fierce. Like, I'm much more intimidated by him going to Toronto.
Yeah, I don't think he'll actually play for them.
You just don't think he'll do it. You just don't think he'll do it.
He's going to go to one team. He has it set. It's a players' league. No matter.
I don't know. Portland's standing their ground, though. This is like the first time we've seen this.
Those are the reports that they want you to think, so they can maximize their return from Miami, so they can get fleeced, and Miami's left with like some sort of version of Lay's potato chips. Like, that's what is going to happen, like you said. So I think we can agree on that. I think overall, like, it doesn't really matter though where Dame goes. It really doesn't. The Boston Celtics got worse. If Toronto gets him, I'll pray for you guys. Hopefully you don't get LeBron toed. But it just doesn't seem like the East has anyone, like coming. What are we, afraid of the Nets? I'm not afraid of
the Nets.
Are we afraid of Ben Simmons? Like, who's in the East?
I don't know, man. I mean, Giannis and the Bucks. That's who I'm still afraid of, and I think I should be. But Dame's good. He's great, but also, like, Dame is like if Kyrie stayed loyal to Cleveland and LeBron never came back. Like, he's so talented. He's been great, but ultimately, has he won like one playoff series? No, he's won a couple, but I think he made it to the Western Conference Finals once, and nobody thought he had a chance because he didn't. He didn't have a chance. I don't know, man. It's hard to anticipate what somebody going to their first new team in their 12th season, like what they're going to do, how they're going to change, how they're going to be different, how they're going to mesh with new people. But I think it has the capacity to be, a huge monumental move. Like, I think it could push us out of top 4 if he goes to the right team in the right situation.
Yeah. I don't think I love Dame. I think Dame Doll is a great rapper too. Not a lot of people, give him the respect that he deserves. Love him to death. Dame time is iconic, but he doesn't move the needle for me. I think the one person, like you said, we have Giannis to beat out of the East. Whatever has been going on the last couple of years, with the Giannis reports of as soon as I see a team not going to win, I'm going to leave, that puts him in question.
I mean, his team's been trying to win. They've just been unhealthy. Like, Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton are the perfect complements to him, and he knows that. He's probably sick of not winning.
I mean, the last year, Chris Middleton in and out of injury. Like,
whole year.
They need kind of a rework,
or they need him to be healthy.
Yeah,
which you can't guarantee. You can't guarantee that at all. Like,
yeah. Well, that's why I'm thinking, like, there is a chance that we could push Giannis out of the East if we do good this season. Obviously, this Cavs podcast, we're very excited about the Cavs, but
yeah,
I don't care about where Dame goes. I don't think it's gonna shake us. Let me phrase it this way, Tom. Do you think we're gonna have to beat ourselves, or are we gonna have to beat the East to win this season?
That's a good question. Um, I think we have to beat ourselves. Like, I think last year we lost to ourselves. And gosh, it's been months and I still have the worst taste in my mouth from the end of that season. Um, yeah, we have to really, really like regroup and look ourselves in the mirror and say, like, who are we? Because these are people who've been playing basketball their entire lives. They know what to do, but in the playoffs, we looked like we weren't sure, like, what to do at all. Like, it's not just confidence. It's like confidence in knowing that you know what to do, and in the moment, like, you're not just doing something wrong. I don't know. It's letting yourself think freely. Yeah, we can totally beat anybody in the East. Yeah, we have to beat ourselves. We have to outplay our minds.
We're gonna have to come out swinging this year. I think we're gonna have to really prove it to the fans, like, hey, don't stress, because we all have that disgusting feel in our stomach. And whatever, I think even like the first couple games that I watch, even preseason, I'm still gonna be thinking about what happened. I mean, it was pretty traumatic. Not to be dramatic, but it was extremely traumatic.
I haven't been that mad in a while watching those 5 games. I was so mad the whole time. I just think, yeah, we lost whatever identity we had created in the regular season. And I don't know. I mean, like, right now, we're just clearly excited about next season. I mean, the most recent headlines that have come out are, I think Max Strus might play the 3. It's like, yeah, that's not a story. Donovan Mitchell won't sign an extension. It's like, yeah, they also said that last summer. This isn't news. Like, they don't know what to talk about with this team, because ultimately, like, they had a great regular season and then underperformed in the postseason, and then you don't know what to say about a team like that, because typically then one of the stars leaves or you make a big trade, and we kind of just kept the core, and we're like, they just need more time together. They just gotta believe.
And that's how Portland the first time got to the Western Conference Finals. And if they were better, they would have got there. I think us believing is really good for us. That makes me. Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
J.R. Smith, that meme fucking up the ball at the very end of the playoff, or the how we lost against the Knicks. What made you more mad?
Knicks. And it's because, like, I don't think we were going to win that series, even if J.R. Smith knew how much time was left on the clock. But I don't know, man. Like, that was one play where a dude that probably smokes pounds of weed, forgot the clock, and it went to overtime. We still could have won in overtime, and we didn't. Yeah, you feel bad for LeBron and what it means for his legacy. Like, the first time we played the Warriors, we had multiple chances to win game 1. I think we took them to overtime. We had multiple chances to win that game. We lost. And, like, again, I get upset about those because of what it means for LeBron's legacy. Because it's ultimately his teammates failing him. He is unbelievable in the finals. There's nobody who's played anywhere near as good as LeBron has played in the finals, and that's just true. Yeah. Look up the stats. LeBron in the finals is a different person. He is possessed by something not from this earth. But watching last year was just so disheartening, because I have so much faith in Garland and Mobley in the long run. But it was Donovan Mitchell's show, and I just didn't know where he fit in. I still don't know where he fits in. I don't know if he's our team's leader, our team's motivator, or if he wants anything to do with these guys or this city or this team or our colors. Like, it's like, are you one of us or not? And it just made me feel like there was a traitor in the house. Like, there was a dude wearing our colors who didn't want to be, who repped him well all season. I mean, he dropped 71. He had an amazing year last year. He He was All NBA or second team All NBA, and in the playoffs, it looked like he was just like he was distracted by a hot girl the whole time, and that hot girl was New York City. Well, we got to give a little shout out to Ohio State beating Notre Dame in one of the best Ohio State games I've watched in a while. I mean, this was a defensive matchup that was still managed to be an exciting game. Yeah, and they won on the last play of the game. It was awesome. Zach, what are your initial thoughts? Do you have any hot takes from this?
No, not really that many hot takes. I think like Ryan Day bought himself another couple weeks maybe with this win. Maybe this year. I think for like no exaggeration, he bought himself this year. People in Ohio, they're fucking, sorry to swear, they're mad about how we've been winning. People want to say, oh, we've been winning convincingly. Some people have said that. Okay, we beat what? Youngstown, Northern Kentucky, Bishop Sycamore High School. Like, these aren't teams. And when we play these kinds of teams, like, we want to whoop them and we want to feel good about McCord. I left leaving that game thinking we were going to lose with a couple minutes left. But, okay, so I'm not sold. We won. Not sold on McCord. And Ryan Day is out here acting it up in the post-game press conference.
You didn't love that? You gotta love that.
I loved it. But a guy like me, I'm piecing things. I'm thinking Ryan Day, he never, ever talks about that kind of stuff. He never shows that kind of emotion, but he knew that his career was on the line. If he runs the ball and people are like, we have Marvin Harrison, you didn't throw it, and we lose, then the picture of Notre Dame storming the field, he doesn't make it, I don't think, to the end of the season. That's not even a hot take.
I think that's the spiciest, hottest take for the whole pod so far. He's 49-6 in his career. He's having the greatest start to coaching a team ever.
That's expected at Ohio State. Okay, that's
49-6 though. It's not just expected. He is meeting those expectations. He's getting us to the college football playoff every single year. I can't and I know you're not just speaking for yourself. You're speaking for some Ohio State fans. Crawl out of your own ass. I'm sorry. Ohio State is amazing, and they always are, and they always should be. That's why we don't talk about them every week, because we expect them to beat the hell out of everybody.
But tell me what made you think Kyle McCord is a good quarterback?
The last drive. The last drive was the most clutch thing I've seen. Hold on. It's the most clutch thing I've seen any Ohio State quarterback do in a long time.
Oh, my God.
Name it.
Drop it down in the comments.
Justin Fields and C.J. Stroud and all of our other guys who have been great. R.J. Barrett did have a great clutch game-winning drive, I think, against Penn State.
How quick to forget Troy Smith?
I'm talking about of recent history. I'm saying Justin Fields and C.J. Stroud are number 1 overall picks, number 2 overall picks, and Kyle McCord did something that they haven't been able to do, and that's win a game on a game-winning drive in a clutch moment. And maybe they had been able to do it, but this was tough. This was incredible, and he showed up. And also, I just want to say, this is his 4th game as a starter. Just as we're saying for Deshaun, for Kyle McCord, this is a stepping stone. This is a building block. And yes, he didn't put up gaudy stats, but he found Ibuka. Ibuka probably had 100 to 150 receiving yards this game. Anytime there was a big play, it was probably Ibuka. He hasn't quite figured out how to get Marvin Harrison fully involved. And with him being a young quarterback, Ryan Day is getting all of these shots about the culture of Ohio State. What's your identity? Who are you really? Because we don't have this great quarterback to point to yet. But man, Lou Holtz, out of line, saying that Ohio State has always been soft. What are you talking about? Are you saying that Notre Dame hasn't been soft since the 90s? What are you talking about? Your only chance in the championship, the national championship game, you got blown out by 50.
Yeah,
what are you talking about?
He's a Notre Dame fan.
Yeah, he is. But what's this? That was out of line.
It was bullshit.
It was some real bullshit. And also, 49-6. Ryan Day is one of the most prolific college football coaches of our time. And that's just true.
Just doesn't matter, though. You're expected to win when you coach Ohio State. And you're expected...
And he has. He's done nothing but.
So far, one play goes wrong. They had 10 players the last 2 plays. This is like muddy waters.
This is a top 10 team, though, and we're in Notre Dame.
Sure, I'll give you that. I want the Buckeyes to succeed, but this is not the best version of the Buckeyes I've seen, and it doesn't
definitely not. But this team is probably going to go undefeated until the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, next 4 games we have Maryland, Purdue, the big one, Penn State, and then Wisconsin. So let's see how he builds. But I'm already letting you know, like I personally and a lot of people here, not sold on Colin McCord, not even close. And
you don't
the way
have to
he
be
carries
sold
himself,
on him.
Why?
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying the way he carries himself.
What's our other option? Is all I mean to say. Like he's played well. He's gotten better. What more can the kid do? He just beat a number 9 team. When our team got dropped to number 6 because we only beat Youngstown State 63-10, we only beat Western Kentucky 35-7. Like, I guess that's just not enough of a blowout. Our defense is playing well.
Not for a franchise like us.
Sure, I get it. This is also why I don't like college football. And it's not that I don't like college football. I can't care about college football all season. I just can't.
Yeah, we'll care in 2 more weeks when they play Penn State.
Yeah, when they play Penn State, I will watch the whole game. I will be jacked up. I'll be wearing Ohio gear. But, I'm probably not going to watch much of the next 2 games. I'll throw it on and I'll say, oh, we're killing them. Great. It's just not compelling to watch. They kind of set us up for this, really... I don't know. It's not a great viewing experience. It's like, oh, do you want everyone to just be tailgating and eating peanut butter chocolate Buckeyes? Like, is that what you want everyone to be doing? I think the answer is yes. And I think a lot of Ohio State fans are listening to this and they're going to be like, yeah, that's what I like to do. That's what I like.
Big week for Ohio. Big week for all teams, actually, in Ohio. One we will not mention.
Well, guys, this has been the Witnesses Podcast. Thank you for tuning in, as always. We've been Zach and Tom, your gracious hosts. And truly, if you are in town in Cleveland for next week's game, come say what's up. But otherwise, this has been another episode. We'll probably drop a few more shorts this week, but we'll catch you next week. Zach, you good?
Oh, hell yeah, baby.
All right, let's get it. TW. Peace.